Okay, so what I'm going to do here, I think I might have a suction side leak on that diesel. I don't know for sure, and one way around it is I'm going to put in a cartridge type filter. I've got a base, an aftermarket base with a screw-on type filter, and I'm going to rig that up and set this aside for now. This is the factory original primary and the secondary filter on this base here. The primary goes on the bottom and the secondary went on the top here. And there's all these different connections. Plus there's this is the style of fuel line hose that there is, so it's a rubber gasket in there with a nut, and there's endless possibilities for air to leak into this system, and so I'm going to try that. I mean, I'm not getting that engine to start. The pump's been apart twice. I put new injectors in it. It looks like it wants to. I'm going to check the timing as well too, but this is the thing I'm going to do next. I'm going to put a cartridge style filter in. You'll see that, and I'll walk you through that process as it goes. What I'm doing here today is I'm making up this bracket assembly and the piping for these filters for the tractor. And these are Baldwin filters. There's one with a drain. So this is a primary filter and this is a high efficiency secondary filter. And I got these two bases, and the bases are identical. What I'd been hoping to do was mount them exactly flat, side by side. But if you look at the way the ports are, in here, out there, in on this side, out on that side, there's no configuration that you can sit them side by side. I had this single filter mount, and it fits a screw-on type filter, and what I've got on there is a Baldwin 1212 filter, high efficiency filter. For right now, that's plenty. If the engine runs, I'll put a double filter. I may even put a water separating filter first, and then a high efficiency filter. But with this option, the screw-on filter, I can quickly change to the type of filter I want. I just got it mounted on one bolt here on the engine for now, and I would do that in greater detail if it works. So I put the shutoff here instead of at the tank, so right at the filter. And I've got 3/8 push-on fuel hose, and these are push-on fittings, so the hose slides up on there. And I've sealed everything with PTFE Teflon sealant on all the threads. And I've used some stainless fittings in here and brass there. And I went down in here on the injection pump, and this is an ORB fitting, which is an O-ring Boss. And I just changed the O-ring in there, put a new O-ring between there and the casing. And everything's snugged down. I had to drain the fuel from the tank to do this because I changed the fitting on the tank. I'll show you that. Yeah, so I drained out the tank, and then I took out the factory fitting from here, and I put in an elbow and a fitting and that push-on hose from there down. So no valve at the tank, but the valve at the filter. It's easier to get to from the other side. Okay, I'm going to turn on the fuel. And we're going to bleed it through, and then we're going to see if this thing starts. Okay, got steady flow of fuel coming out of there. Now we'll hook it to the injection pump. There. Okay, I'm just going to wipe that off and give it a second, and we'll give this a try. I'm going to recheck the timing. I'm getting a bit of fuel. I don't see big squirts at the injector line when I bled it there a minute ago, but I'm getting fuel. I think the timing might be a little off. I'm going to check it. Like that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect the battery because I have to disconnect the starter and take it out. So I'm going to turn off the battery charger, and I'm going to disconnect that from the battery. And It's a 1/2 inch on the negative terminal here. And then I'm going to resume the battery charging. Positive, negative, and my cable's disconnected over here. So we'll start that back on 2 amp charge. Loosen that. Okay. And taking the starter out achieves 2 things. One, I can turn the flywheel with a screwdriver. And also, because this is an oil sump, the flywheel dips down in the fluid every time it goes around. So, you know, if you don't wipe it off, the marks are so faint you can't see it. So, you know, I turn it up a little bit, wipe off the marks, you know, and then look for it through the hole. There's an inspection hole here in a second. And the starter hold down bolts are 9/16, and there's 3 of them. Okay, there's the starter out. Okay, it may be difficult to see, but the graduations are now showing in the hole. And I've got that pointer lined up with top dead center. These are the graduations. This is on the 1968 case 580 CK, and this is the 188 engine. I think they'll be similar on all the case tractors, but yours might be different. Anyway, what you'll find is there's a center graduation here. There's a longer one, and it's marked D on one side and C on the other, and that's dead center. That would be top dead center, number 1 cylinder on the compression stroke. Okay, if you lined your pin up with that. And these are degrees before top dead center, and these are degrees after top dead center. And what I've found is the after top dead center, it ends at 10, and there might be one or two more graduations after 10, but 10 is the only number there. And on the before top dead center, it goes up to 30. Some of them are really hard to see. Okay, so I came from top dead center, and I turned the flywheel counterclockwise, and I counted the graduations, and now I'm sitting at 8 degrees before top dead center. Now let's go and take the cover off the injection pump, drain that little bit of fuel out that's going to come out from there, and see where our marks are on the pump. All right, let's get that cover out of the way. Should be able to just sit it aside like that. Now we'll just let that drain down and get our mirror and take a look, see where the marks are. Okay, the flywheel set at 8 degrees before top dead center, and those marks in the pump, as you can see in the mirror, are exactly lined up. All right, that should be the timing. Okay, here's the next chapter here. I'm going to set the valves on this 580 CK tractor. I've just taken the valve cover off. Now what I've got done here is I've got the engine rolled around. It's pretty hard to see right there, but there's a marker in that hole, and there's graduations on the flywheel. That is dead center. So it's either number 1 top dead center on the compression stroke, or it's number 4 top dead center. Now let's take a look. This is number 1 here, number 2, number 3, and number 4. Now if that's number 1 top dead center on the compression stroke, these push rods should be loose, and they are. I can spin them easily with my finger like that and like that. Now if these push rods were hard to turn, if they were jammed up hard, you'd be at number 4 top dead center. Okay, and then what you'd have to do is turn the engine 1 complete revolution back to that mark at 0, and then you would bring number 1 to top dead center. Okay, so right now if we looked at number 4, these are really hard. I cannot turn those. So that's the right one. So we're at number 1 top dead center on the compression stroke on the line down there. Okay, and that's different than the advanced for the injection pump. This tractor, for the injection pump timing, the injection pump fires at 8 degrees before top dead center. And we'll set that up for the pump when we're done checking the valves. But to set the valves, it has to be at 0, which is top dead center. Okay, we got the book out here for the valve clearances. Now, in these manuals, they also include gasoline engines. So make sure you've got the diesel engine page selected. So that's the 188 diesel engine. We come into the specifications for it. Okay, the tappet clearance on the intakes cold and hot. So engine cold or engine hot, doesn't matter. 12 thousandths of an inch, okay? And the exhaust, tap it, clearance cold or hot, 14. So 14 on the exhaust and 12 on the intake. So in the book here, it says, if you have number 1 top dead center in the compression stroke, what you do is you check. You don't check anything on number 4. You set the exhaust valve on number 3, the intake on number 2, and the exhaust and intake on number 1. And then what you do is you turn the engine 1 complete revolution back to the pointer at top dead center, and then you set exhaust and intake on number 4, the intake on number 3, and the exhaust on number 2, and you don't touch anything on number 1. It's already been set. Okay, so just one turn of the engine, you can do all the valves. Okay, looking at the engine here, see where the exhaust pipe comes off here and there and there. So this valve is the exhaust, this is the exhaust, this is the exhaust, and that's the exhaust. And the others are the intake, of course, right? So it's a little sloppy. Just turn the nut on the back here to adjust it. That's just about right. Let me see here. Yeah. Just barely going through there. Okay, 12,000 good. The other leaf I have out here is 14 for the exhaust. Let's check that. It's a little sloppy. Let's come in just a bit. And just a bit of feel there. That's 14. That's good. Yeah. Ooh, that's a snug 12. That's almost too snug. Yeah. Off that a little bit. Okay. Let's see. See, oh, a little better. Let's see. Yeah, that's good. Let's see. Yeah, a little more, just a smidge. There, that's good. Okay, and the other leaf is 14. Oh, that's quite sloppy. Okay, bring that down. Let's see. A little more. Oh, that's pretty good there, I think. Let's see. Yeah. Let's see here. I'm gonna a little much. And back just a bit. There, that's 14. That's good. Okay, so intake and exhaust on number 1, intake on number 2, exhaust on number 3. Then we're going to turn the engine 1 complete turn back to top dead center on number 4, and then we'll do the rest of the settings. Okay, I'm going to turn this on the end of the crankshaft first. I'm just going to put a mark, because there's no mark on this crankshaft. I'm just going to put a rough mark there, and I'm going to line it up kind of there. I don't want to have to, you know, go and look through that mark to come up in the hole. So I'm just going to turn it around until I get close to this, and then check it from the other side. Okay, going around. Okay, almost there. Okay, that's almost it. So now I should go over to the hole and see how close those marks are. It's going to be coming up real close. And then I went in the hole with the screwdriver, and I got that pointer right on 0, top dead center. And because this tractor has fluid in the torque tube, the flywheel sits in the fluid. So every time it goes around, it gets coated there, and it's hard to see the graduation. So what I do is I keep a rag and I wipe off the flywheel as it's coming around. So sometimes I'll turn it back a little bit, wipe it off, and then turn it up to the mark. Yeah, we're right on the mark. top dead center. That's number 4 top dead center. And the way we can verify that is the push rods are loose. See? Spin those really easy. Go back over here. Number 1, they're going to be hard to turn. You won't be able to turn them at all by your fingers. Okay, that's 14 on the exhaust. Okay, let's try the intake. Oh, it's a bit tight. Actually, no, I think the intake's, that's pretty good. And that's a little tight. Yeah. Okay, that's good. Ooh, that's loose. That's really loose. Number 2 exhaust, 14 thou. That looks pretty good. Okay, and that's once through. All the valves are set. Okay, so I wiped off that gasket, cleaned it up. Sit it down in there. Okay, the cover's a little rusty, but it's clean. Okay. That's good. Okay, let's remember that we're at number 4 top dead center, okay? Don't get mixed up with that. We're going to set the injection timing now. So what we're going to have to do is turn the crankshaft 1 complete revolution until these marks come back up here, and then we know we're going to be at number 1 cylinder, top dead center on the compression stroke, and then we can set the injection timing, which is 8 degrees before top dead center. If we were to set it here, we'd be 180 degrees off on the timing, and it wouldn't run. Okay, so let's carry on. We're going to go around, rotate the engine counterclockwise as viewed from the driver's seat. Okay, go around. And the reason for that is you want to go past 8 degrees before top dead center and bring it back to 0. So here we're coming up now to the mark. Okay, we're going to come up very close now. We should be almost at top dead center, number 1 top dead center compression stroke. And then what we're going to do is we're going to rotate this way clockwise as viewed from the driver's seat, or counterclockwise from the front, till we reach 8 degrees before top dead center. That's the injection pump timing, and by doing that, by passing the mark, rotating it this way and then back to 8 degrees before top dead center, takes the backlash out of the gearing. Okay, so then you know you got your timing right. Now you see in the image in the mirror, we see on the right hand side there's a stationary mark. You see that there? And you see on the left hand side there's another scratch, and they line up. Okay, now the one on the left moves. That's the weight retainer for the governor. Okay, that turns with the engine. The other one always stays stationary. So that's the timing mark there. So right now what I've done is I've turned the engine, looking at those graduations through that hole on the flywheel by 8 degrees before top dead center on the flywheel mark. And then I came around here and I verified it. So what you'll want to do is you'll want to probably have an assistant, if you can, to watch this hole. If not, you know, when you find those graduations on the engine, move it 1 graduation at a time. Move, you know, advance it one graduation, come over and check with the mirror, or just, you can look at it straight if you can get down a little lower, but with a mirror it makes it quite a bit easier. And just keep watching it until you see that movable mark start to come close to the fixed mark. Okay, there is a slight adjustment in there's an oblong hole in the flange of this pump, so you can adjust timing a little bit. It's kind of like the old distributor on a gasoline engine, where you could turn the distributor a little bit. The only thing to note is that you don't turn the injection pump when the engine's running. You can cause catastrophic damage, so don't do that. But you can adjust it minutely here to adjust the timing. But if it's already set and the tractor's running, and you know that it was running, so what you're going to do is you're going to set it 8 degrees top dead center on the flywheel, line up these 2 marks in the injection pump, and you're good to go. I know what else to say tonight.